Hi, Victor. Hi, Carlos. How are you?
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Keisa, come here.
I'm here too.
Over there.
Hello.
It's a very sophisticated technology over here because when we move, the webcam does not do anything. Okay. Okay.
This zoom out is the link.
Helena.
Yeah, we are getting a little bit dizzy here because the camera keeps going.
Do you
No.
regret to check? I can present in English now. when we apply, submit, I don't know, we have the option, eh? You can you
present in English?
Yeah. Do you regret to check? Yes.
Yeah, normally, I don't know, you can go first, Carlos.
No, go, Victor.
No, normally it's just a formality. Normally you just put English and Portuguese, but probably I would present in Portuguese. That's the first time that they said, well, you have to present in English.
Yeah.
It was a bit shaky, but
Yeah. To be honest, normally we don't even read the test. Just check the box.
yeah, it's just automatic. There I go.
I don't even remember that box exists.
I don't know. I don't even check it.
Next year for sure we will remember when we see this box.
Keisa, Carlos was my
I remember
my student, and I suggested him to do the Journalism's class. So he accepted, and I don't know why he's still talking with me.
Congratulations. But we have in that conference. I saw the presentation. And
Yeah, it was an unpaid.
we are não com o WhatsApp, né? Eu ia falar assim, vamos tirar uma foto, mas não mostrando o WhatsApp.
If you can post
porque vai ficar registrado
esse momento. Ai, ótimo, obrigada. Obrigada. Tchau.
Onde é que está meu café?
Aqui mesmo. Nem chega estragando tudo.
Sujou
a mesa.
Não vou vir mais para a sua sexta.
Não, 15 vocês.
Nunca
Vocês
mais.
são mais avançados.
Ela me convidou, aí depois que eu aceitei, ela disse que era em inglês.
Para isso servem os amigos. Eles vão tirar aqui. Não, não. Também. Sim, ótimo.
Eu não tenho nem coisa.
Okay. Well, good afternoon. My name is Grace Sartori. I am a professor from Federal University of Santa Maria. Now we have 3 papers to present. Here is Elna. She will discuss the paper with us. Also, Keisa will do just the hard or the difficult questions for us. We have the first paper will be data security and value creation for consumers, evidence from the United States. The second paper will be value creation through stakeholder synergy, evidence from Brazilian firms. And the last paper is a legal approach to managing for stakeholders in Brazil. So, Elna will put the videos and then we start our discussion.
Yeah. Hi guys, hi Carlos, hi Vicky. Hi, Rafa. Oh. Let me share the video.
Nosso trabalho intitulado Data Security and Value Creation for Consumers, Evidence from the United States, tem como intuito explorar a segurança de dados e a criação de valor sob uma perspectiva dos consumidores americanos. Então, existem debates na literatura sobre questões éticas referentes ao uso de Big Data, né? Existe também uma preocupação por parte das empresas referente a esse assunto, porque ele pode tanto criar quanto destruir valor para os seus consumidores, né? Nesse sentido, a nossa pergunta de pesquisa foi: quais são as melhores práticas de proteção de dados?
Guys, can you hear? Is it okay? The line, yeah? For us, it's really bad.
De dados que criam valores para os consumidores, né? Para isso, a gente utilizou a base da Just Capital do ano 2021, com 922 empresas que foram categorizadas em 6 indústrias. Para responder a nossa pergunta de pesquisa, nós usamos 3 pilares teóricos. O primeiro deles é a teoria dos stakeholders.
Then it's better the sound or no? Because
You try to read.
They are listening. Guys, you from home are listening just fine. Right? Vico and Carlos?
Sorry, can you repeat, Elna? I didn't listen.
Yes. Are you being able to listen to the videos fine? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's just fine.
Okay.
Stakeholders, né, é uma teoria que ela pode ser vista como uma ferramenta para melhor descrever o mundo e fomentar a ação. E ela aborda principalmente 3 problemas que estão interligados e que são relacionados ao mundo dos negócios, né? O primeiro é a relação da criação de valor e do comércio. O segundo é sobre a ética do capitalismo. E o terceiro é o problema sobre a mentalidade gerencial, né? Dessa forma, existem debates nessa teoria sobre o papel que as empresas têm ou deveriam ter, né, na sociedade. E, nesse sentido, as empresas elas devem alinhar as questões sociais e éticas com o seu modelo de negócio. Para isso, é preciso identificar quais são os grupos de stakeholders, ponderar sobre a relevância de cada grupo, depois entender como as expectativas de cada grupo estão sendo atendidas, e aí, finalmente, as empresas elas podem modificar suas políticas, se necessário, considerando essas prioridades, né? Então, nós temos que, a partir da gestão de stakeholders, a empresa ela pode compreender mais profundamente sobre as necessidades da sociedade, criando valor para os seus stakeholders. O segundo pilar teórico é sobre a criação de valor, né? A criação de valor ele é a premissa central do propósito do negócio e o seu conceito ele é um tópico de discussão de diversos autores que têm abordagens diferentes, né? Para o nosso estudo, nós utilizamos o mesmo conceito que Soares de 2014, em que a gente entende que a criação de valor ele é uma combinação dos resultados tangíveis e intangíveis que uma empresa ela distribui aos stakeholders e que satisfaçam essas suas demandas, né? E isso é importante para que essa relação entre empresa ou organização e stakeholder seja mantida. E o terceiro e último pilar teórico é sobre Big Data e Data Security. O Big Data ele é uma quantidade significativa de dados, nas quais as técnicas tradicionais de gerenciamento elas não conseguiam processar devido à sua complexidade e tamanho, né? Os dados hoje são vistos como os recursos mais valiosos, né? E isso aqui está ilustrado pela capa do Economist de 2017, né? Mais valiosos até do que recursos de petróleo. E aí, então, dentro dessa parte teórica, existem debates éticos, né? Tanto na literatura e também ele transcende para a prática, sobre as vantagens e desvantagens e também os desafios relacionados ao Big Data, né? Então, por um lado, o uso do Big Data ele pode aumentar a satisfação do consumidor, porque as empresas elas usam as informações, elas obtêm os padrões e aí elas podem melhorar os serviços e seus serviços e produtos através do conhecimento das preferências de seus consumidores, né? Então, a empresa, ela pode concentrar os seus esforços de forma mais assertiva e eficiente. Nós temos como, por exemplo, a Netflix e o seu algoritmo, né, de sugestões de recomendação de filmes e de séries. Por outro lado, tem os casos de violação de privacidade, né, tem questões de discriminação contra clientes também. Nessa parte, as questões éticas, quando elas surgem, quando as organizações e as empresas elas coletam, analisam, compartilham e ou vendem os dados dos indivíduos sem o devido consentimento ou conscientização genuína do mesmo, né? Nesses casos, a proporção do dano ele afeta de forma desigual os consumidores e as empresas, né? Então, é nessa questão aqui que a gente aborda o nosso estudo. Então, em relação ao método, né? Nós somos na base da Just Capital, selecionamos as variáveis sobre o assunto, né? Os consumidores, eles responderam no questionário que eles basicamente se preocupam com se a empresa protege a sua privacidade, se a empresa os trata com respeito e fornece uma experiência positiva, se ela fabrica produtos e oferece serviços que não causam dano à sociedade, e se ela é transparente nas suas comunicações sobre os seus serviços, né, e produtos. Então, nós coletamos essas variáveis, fizemos uma análise de estatística descritiva, né, olhamos os resultados, média, variância, moda, desvio padrão, e aí então fizemos também um agrupamento de cláusulas da ISO 27002 em quatro grandes princípios, né? O primeiro é a confidencialidade, que diz respeito à exclusividade de acesso a dados específicos. O segundo é sobre a integridade, né? Ela defende que os dados armazenados eles permaneçam completos e resistentes a falhas. O terceiro é sobre a autenticidade, né? A autoria de um dado. E, por fim, a disponibilidade, que garante que essa informação esteja disponível a todos que dela necessitam, né? Então, a partir desses dados e a partir desse agrupamento, nós fomos nas melhores 3 empresas de cada indústria e olhamos seus relatórios públicos anuais, né, no mesmo ano da base da Just Capital, para que a gente procurasse quais que são as melhores práticas de proteção de dados que criam valor para consumidores. Então, aqui nós temos, né, os resultados. Nós observamos que, analisando a parte estatística, os setores de TI, de finanças tiveram os melhores resultados. Ele argumenta que isso é característico da própria natureza da indústria, né? Eles lidam com dados muito sensíveis de seus consumidores. O restante das indústrias, eles tiveram resultados similares, com exceção da manufatura, que tiveram os piores resultados, né? Então, como eu falei, nós fomos lá nos relatórios dessas empresas para daí, então, chegar às quais são as melhores práticas, que são essas aqui, né? Pela presença dos mesmos nos relatórios, nós colocamos que as melhores práticas são seguir a regulamentação, né, dos países de proteção, ter um sistema de autenticação e criptografia, fazer auditoria de atividades suspeitas, ter cargos dedicados à proteção de dados, né, ter cargos em setores para isso e fazer treinamento recorrente com os colaboradores. Uma outra questão bem colocada foi que eles também acompanham de perto os seus fornecedores, né, para ver se eles têm políticas fortes de proteção de dados. E eles estão sempre procurando inovações e melhorias em termos de práticas, né, e ações de proteção de dados. Esse estudo ele tem algumas contribuições, né? A gente analisa a segurança de dados e como se relaciona a percepção de valor dos consumidores. Então, a gente tem a contribuição tanto teórica quanto prática, né? Que as empresas elas podem dar uma olhada em quais são as melhores práticas e repensar, né, em sua estratégia. Mas esse estudo também ele teve algumas limitações, né? Então, primeiro a gente olhou só um ano da base, a gente não comparou essas práticas com outras regiões do mundo, a gente não comparou com outras fontes e a gente não considerou outros stakeholders, né? Todas essas limitações, elas constituem oportunidade de estudos futuros, que também podem ser, né, considerados a fazer essa correlação com resultado do desempenho financeiro, dar uma olhada em qual foi a influência da pandemia do Covid, né, nesse tipo de prática, analisar quais práticas destroem valor, né, que a gente estudou quais que criam, então a gente pode analisar quais que são as que destroem, fazer um estudo longitudinal e replicar para outros países. Aqui são algumas das principais referências do trabalho. Obrigada.
For your presentation, congratulations. I'll open to the audience. If you have any questions, suggestions to Elna, please feel free to hands up.
I have one, but I confess that I don't understand everything because of the not because of the presentation, but because of the audio problem. But I have a suggestion because I was in a conference of business ethics in Spain in this year. And one of the tracks, it's ethics, AI ethics, artificial intelligence ethics, and was one of the topics with more speakers. I know some PhD students and professors that are working in this topic. So one of the, when I see the presentation, I think this is a for sure, a topic for sure. It's a subject that will have more interest and people will search for this kind of topic. So this is my suggestion. It's search for ethics in artificial intelligence that maybe it's broader than this analysis because the artificial intelligence, we have more than big data discussion. But for sure could be, you could find some studies and maybe possibilities of a project and to work on this subject.
For sure, it's interesting. Actually, this is the work of an undergrad student. Yes, and she recently started her studies, and she is very into big data and research and consumers and things like that. So we never thought about having a more broader perspective.
And I like one of the ideas. Maybe you can keep with the subject, but I thought about the opportunities. You know, I think that now this moment you have opportunity to a publication of this paper because it's when we have this topics that we have interest and less studies, so it's the time to try to publish the paper because you will find some people interested with interest.
Jason, would you don't mind to come to front just because the microphone is in the computer and people in the online cannot.
They cannot see you, but I
They
think they
cannot
can hear you.
But it's not so good because Halfling said that it's not. It's not very good.
Yeah, I moved to, but I think
Maybe we can put the class closer.
I finished my comment.
You can.
Like this because
And I see, né?
Yes. maybe now is it better?
Does this sound better, guys, now? Yeah?
No,
Not so
Yeah.
much.
not so
Okay.
much.
But they say they are okay, maybe it's
Yeah.
computer.
We will try to speak
Louder.
but we are not sure that you can listen us. We will do our best.
Yeah.
So anyone would like to if you make some comments to Elna, please feel free. While you think about this, I'll suggest some points that I completely agree with Keisa's comments, because AI is a very hot topic in all areas. I am doing a research, systematic review about stakeholder and AI. We can change some figures, but something that I would like to see in the paper, and I think it's not like a that much effort to improve this. The first thing is, okay, here you have the dimensions, it's okay for me. At the method sections, you put in table 4, like the variables that you take from the database. For me, it's, you don't need to put this over here. You just you can write down the names that you are calling them, even though these names are different from the database. Another suggestion for me is to improve your discussion on this data. For example, table 5, you have some interesting results comparing the 4 dimensions that you have in the theoretical framework. But okay, I read your paper, and when I finish that, okay, so what? What can I do with these results? For example, P&G company, why they are adopting established monitor data management operation? What they do better than others? Or why, for example, monitor of suppliers, few companies are doing this kind of data management? So explain a little bit better and going deeper in this case. Another thing, like for me, like you are PM, what does it mean? When I saw, I don't know, maybe I can.
These are the companies actually.
Just explain that, because okay, I tried to figure out if this was a variable or not. I just understood that it was a firm when I looked at the Procter and Gamble and Apple in the last of your table. So another suggestion, like the last one, the sum of results, for me, it's also one result. And you could take out from the discussion for the result section. Let me ask you just one more thing.
Okay.
How much effort do you want to put on this paper?
Not a lot, because the main author graduated in digital research, so we published it, maybe someone else can do it. The main thing that we wanted from this paper was to use the database, use the JustCat database, and we had access to it, but the access that we had was not comprehensive. So that's why we put the tables with the variables, because it's not organized. So future researchers can refer to that if they are students, because they are not organized in the database. But not a lot of effort. Some effort.
Because, for example, table 4, that names doesn't mean anything for me. But if you take like over here, match the establish of privacy policy with the variables, the metrics that you use, and then the variable that you take from the database, it makes clear, at least for me, understand what you have done in this paper to analyze. Another thing that for me is also not so clear, it's like the value creation for customer. Why I'm saying that? Because I expect that you have like two variables, the data security and the value creation. And over your paper, you just have data security. It's not a problem, but when I look at the title, I expect at least on discussion we can bring this in the discussion section and bring the okay, we have this kind of metrics that represent those dimensions. And these affect us that way or another way the customer value. Just to think better with your
Thank you so much for showing that. Really appreciate it. So we are basically our time actually for this paper, so should we move on to the next one?
Yes.
The next one is the legal approach.
The next one, no, is value creation through stakeholder synergy, and that's from Brazilian business. Your paper as well.
No, this is
No?
Mari.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Mari and Vitor. Right, Vitor?
Hello everyone, I'm Vito, a master student at USP, and I will be presenting the paper Value Creation Through Stakeholder Synergy, Evidence for Brazilian Firms, written by Lenik, myself, Mariana, and Maria Laura. Beginning with the introduction, we see that value distribution is one of the most discussed topics in stakeholder theory. The current perspective focuses on a trade-off logic, which means the decision to deliver value to a stakeholder implies reducing the value distributed to another stakeholder. In this sense, Tanton and Prem present a new perspective, stakeholder synergy, arguing that it is possible to deliver value in order to meet several stakeholders simultaneously. This new perspective, however, lacks further empirical studies. So our research problem would be to answer the question, what synergies for value creation among stakeholders are found in organizations? Our theoretical framework is divided into three sections. The first is about value creation types and nature. As for types, value can be tangible and intangible. In terms of nature, it can be transactional and relational. In this study, we characterize value according to type and nature. In the second topic, we talk about stakeholder utility, defined as everything that a company delivers to the stakeholder and that has value for them. And finally, we talk about value creation synergy, which occurs when the firm meets the utility and function of several stakeholders without diminishing the utility function of other stakeholders. Concerning the method, the study has a qualitative approach and uses as a data source the IPOs listed on B3. The analysis is performed by content analysis following the method of Boaventura, who validate a set of words to measure value. Here we present the number of IPOs by year from 2004 to 2021. We see a spike in a few selected years, such as 2007, 2020, and 2021. In Boaventura's study, each set of words measures value for one stakeholder group. In our study, we had to adapt it. For each set of words, we checked whether more than one stakeholder was benefited by it. If so, we classified it as synergy. In this table, we present the words used in our study. Moving to the results, we identify two types of synergy. The first one is simultaneous and the second one is indirect. It is important to note that by counting indirect synergy, we include only the stakeholders who directly receives the organizational action. We note that all stakeholders have the utility increase in simultaneous synergy. In the indirect ones, we see that suppliers, community, and employee receive actions and generate synergies, while customers and shareholders do not generate indirect synergies for other groups. Speaking about simultaneous relations, in the next two slides, we observe with regard to the nature of the actions that there are more utilities of relational than transactional value. As for the type of action, we observe a balance between tangible and intangible actions. Here we see the continuation of the table from the previous slide. Meanwhile, regarding indirect relations, we observe that employees receive organizational actions that generate synergy for shareholders and customers. Following the table, we see that actions directed to the community and suppliers reverberate on other stakeholders, such as customers, employees, and shareholders. Furthermore, we can also confirm the predominance of relational actions over transactional ones and a balance between tangible and intangible actions. Moving on to the discussion regarding the types of value, we observe complementarity between them. Tangible values deal with objective and economic factors, while intangible values are subjective and behavioral. Therefore, stakeholders have both monetary and emotional demands and needs towards the firm. We also observe that stakeholders value not only the distribution of outcomes, but also the process and the way in which these outcomes are distributed. The distributive justice dimension is aligned with the tangible perspective of actions, which are monetary in nature. Intangible actions and initiatives, on the other hand, have procedural and interactional nature. Therefore, we state Proposition 1. Tangible and intangible value creation actions and initiatives are equally synergistic. Regarding relational and transactional value, we pointed out that stakeholders relate to the firm for different reasons. There are groups interested only in short-term economic exchange. Organizational actions that reflect fairness are irrelevant to them. In this case, the firm delivers transactional values only. On the other hand, there are groups where perceived fairness matters. They care about transactional values, but fair relationships are also relevant. For this, the company delivers relational values, which are values oriented to the benefit several stakeholders simultaneously. Based on this, we have Proposition 2. Value creation actions and initiatives of relational nature are more synergistic than value creation actions and initiatives of transactional nature. To conclude, a few remarks. The purpose of this study was to examine the synergies of value creation for existing stakeholders in Brazilian companies. We saw synergy relations between all primary stakeholders groups. We observed two mechanisms of synergy, simultaneous and indirect. We saw that employees and suppliers are the stakeholders that generate the highest level of synergy, while consumers and shareholders do not generate synergy. And finally, we provided a few theoretical contributions, notably to the stakeholder theory and mechanisms of value creation and synergy within the theory. And we also offered managerial contributions, opening path to organizations to investigate values and relations among the stakeholders. Here are some references used in our study. And thank you all for attending. Feel free to ask us any questions.
Thank you, Victor, for your presentation. Congratulations. Congratulations. I had the opportunity today to discuss your paper with Clinic.
Professor, just to add, you should be exempted to discuss this paper because you discussed this paper previously in another event. You discussed it today, this morning. You are discussing now. So I don't know what more you have to say. You must be tired of hearing about our paper.
Victor, I am an expert in your paper.
Yeah, that's you are co-author, Professor. You are almost a co-author.
In the next segment, I can present your paper.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sure, yeah, we will put your name in your paper, that's for sure.
Maybe I can help. Right? So, maybe, I have a question and some comments, and if they don't make sense, just feel free to refer. So the first thing I've noticed is that the research question that you guys put in the introduction is not aligned with the objective, right? Because the research question is very descriptive, what synergies are found. And then on the method section and along the paper, you say that the purpose is to analyze the synergies, and the purpose is to analyze and not to identify, right? So I would just take note of that. I think the theoretical part is more than evident, but I was a bit unsettled because your main concept is stakeholder synergy, right? And you dedicate only a few paragraphs to it. So you spend a lot of pages talking about value creation, a lot of pages talking about stakeholder theory, stakeholder utility, and then when you reach stakeholder synergy, I think there are only 3 paragraphs or something like that, right? So I was expecting to reach a climax there, and I think this would be. You guys can add more things on that section. I think that from the section stakeholder theory to value creation, in the last paragraph, maybe you can put a link just to make it more cohesive, because you're talking about stakeholder identification, primary stakeholders, and then you end it, and then you just go straight to value creation. So maybe to add some transition there. I have some notes. I will send them over to you later. Just some things that I noticed. Let me check. I think that in the results section and somewhat in the explanation, you guys said that you analyzed IPOs and then you conducted analysis, and I think that would be interesting for the readers if you could use examples of what you have found. You made some examples from the codes, for example, the desktop, the rectangles, and so on. But I'm specifically speaking about the findings that you have, the types of synergy that you found, and that maybe if you can cross it with what you have seen in IPO and things like that, it would be more elusive for people that are reading. And I think that let me check where I am. I think I am on the results section. Yes, the results section, page 12. Then you start speaking about the findings that you have. Oh, we found this. We observed that this kind of relationships comes from the 3 groups, but then you don't explain what could be the reasons for that. What is grounded in the theory, or maybe the method that we're using. I mean, why? What could be the explanations for these main 3 stakeholder groups regarding direct synergy? And I'm using this as an example for other things that you are writing in the result section. Maybe you could provide reasons for the things that you observe, because keep mentioning, we observed this, with this was the most significant, the most important group was this, but then what would be the reasons for you feeling this result? And then finally, I think that proposition 2 is okay. I could grasp it. But for proposition 1, when you say tangible and intangible value creation are equally synergistic. I mean, is there prior literature that said that they wouldn't be equally synergistic? I mean, they are equally synergistic. How? You know, it just I couldn't really think about. Okay, so they are equally useful to create synergy, but how? I mean, they are equally in what way? Because they create different outcomes, right? Some of them will impact on quality, others will impact on, they have different possible different outcomes. I think they would be said. Some impact on price, others on sales condition. They have different things. But this is not clear in proposition 1. Proposition 1, I have the perspective that they are all equal. Maybe they are preferable is some type of contest and things like that. So I would reevaluate proposition 1. I think the way it is not seen a lot. And I think the paper is great. I'm cheering for you. The award section. I'm cheering for the paper. It's great. The justifications are straight to the point. I think this would be my point.
Anna, just if you could later send me your notes, because I have some it was a bit hard to understand. It was not you, it was the audio. It was a bit difficult, but if you could send me later the notes, it will be more than welcome. Thank you.
I will put them on the computer because they are on page.
Thank you, Anna.
It's really terrible, the sound.
The sound is not good, guys.
It's
No,
a bit hard to.
it's impossible to understand you.
It's a bit hard to understand actually.
Yeah.
Let me try to change things here. Let me see.
Usually change the go presence to
This one.
concerning of colors, I think go presence that maybe it's this what
This one.
I think the first.
Guys, and now. Better?
Yeah, it's a bit better. The problem is that sometimes you can listen you, sometimes you cannot. It's like there's a few gaps when you're talking. I don't know what's happening, but yeah.
And now better?
Yeah, now.
No,
now
you have some echo behind your voice because we are in a big room
there's
with a
also
small
that.
microphone. Yeah.
Oh.
Don't worry, Elna.
Yeah, Elna. Yeah, don't worry.
Don't worry.
Even the guys from technology
Cannot help us.
cannot help. Sorry, guys.
But for sure, I will send it over.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Very good.
Thank you, Elna. Thank you, Victor. If you don't mind, I also have a comment, very short one, because it was the last that I'll do with this paper. I'm kidding.
Yeah, please,
If
Professor,
you
go ahead.
again, I will read it all over again. One thing that it's just very few comments. After that, you can discuss with Lineker, what we were talking this morning, but at the conclusion, you called that you discovered two mechanisms. For me, you don't show mechanisms. You just discover or separate or categorize in two kinds of synergy. It's in the second paragraph, because for me, what are the mechanisms? Are the like the path when you explain like one thing affects another thing? The path for me, you can use mechanisms to explain this kind of relationship. But in my opinion, the simultaneous and the indirect synergies are two types of synergies and not mechanisms. Just this. And I wish you the best luck with the paper published in a very good journal, and maybe, we don't know, in few moments you will get the hours. Congratulations.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So guys, now we are proceeding to our final paper, but not less important.
Less but not least.
Yeah.
Professora Grace Sarturi, nós fizemos esse artigo, A Legal Approach to Managing for Stakeholders in Brazil, durante o programa de pós-graduação em Gestão de Organizações Públicas da Universidade Federal de Santa Maria. Bom, o que a gente traz aqui para vocês é basicamente uma visão mais legalista da teoria dos stakeholders. Então a gente buscou aqui basicamente entender como que a empresa se constitui no Brasil, como que ela se relaciona legalmente com todos os seus stakeholders primários, e nós verificamos que esses stakeholders primários possuem já da literatura uma série de valores identificados, os quais eles priorizam, e nós buscamos analisar se dentro desses grupos de stakeholders, esses valores que eles priorizam são suportados pela legislação brasileira ou não. O que a gente quis fazer com esse trabalho? Prover para o gestor se ele pode, dentro da legislação brasileira, distribuir esse valor não financeiro esperado pelos stakeholders. Então a gente traz aqui dois referenciais teóricos. O primeiro e básico é sobre stakeholder value. Então a gente buscou aqui identificar na literatura toda quais os valores devem ser priorizados, quais valores já foram identificados como priorizados por cada grupo de stakeholders. Valores, como eu falei, não financeiros, de acordo com o Harrison Weeks já identificaram lá atrás, aquele que vai além do mero dinheiro. E também, no referencial teórico, a gente trouxe uma abordagem do sistema legal brasileiro, que, para vocês entenderem, funciona em forma de pirâmide. Ou seja, lá em cima tem a Constituição Federal, tem uma lei complementar, tem uma lei ordinária e tem decretos. Para evitar ficar isso tudo sem fim, nós nos baseamos nas três primeiras camadas, ou seja, nós só identificamos a Constituição Federal, que já é imensa do Brasil e versa sobre basicamente todos os temas, ainda que de maneira mais ampla. Um exemplo para vocês, a CLT, que é relevante para um grupo de stakeholders, que são os empregados, os funcionários, os seus principais princípios e principais assuntos vêm direto da Constituição Federal. E ela é, por sua vez, um decreto, ela está lá na base da pirâmide. Então a gente não analisou a CLT em si, nem analisou convenções coletivas, nem analisou esse tipo de decreto. Nós fomos na base legal, buscando princípios, buscando postulados jurídicos que garantem tudo aquilo que vem abaixo deles. Então a gente analisou a Constituição Federal, as leis complementares e também as leis ordinárias. E aqui está incluso, por exemplo, Código de Defesa do Consumidor, leis ambientais, leis de aposentadoria para os empregados. Também analisamos aqui, por exemplo, o Código Civil, certo? Então fica nessa estrutura aqui, que é diferente do sistema legal, por exemplo, americano e do Reino Unido. Bom, o nosso método, então, foi uma revisão sistemática da legislação brasileira, e a gente considerou aqui primeiro o tipo de legislação, como eu expliquei para você, só as primeiras 3 camadas, os tipos de companhia, os tipos de empresas que a gente for organizar. Então a gente não analisou aqui as SAs, que são muito poucas no Brasil, nós analisamos aqui o tipo de empresa mais comum no Brasil, que são as sociedades limitadas, mas também analisamos microempresa, empresa individual, que são os tipos de societários mais presentes no Brasil. Os tipos de valores de cada stakeholders, aí buscamos lá no nosso referencial teórico, certo? E uma comparação, então, onde aquele valor se enquadra na legislação brasileira, certo? Então, aqui só um exemplo para vocês. Quais são os grupos de stakeholders que nós pesquisamos? Os empregados, os acionistas, os clientes, os fornecedores e as comunidades, certo? E esses valores de cada um desses grupos foram tirados das tabelas já clássicas do Clarkson, do Harrison Weeks e da Tantalo and Priam, certo? As legislações pesquisadas são essas que estão elencadas aqui no quadrinho da direita. Então, a gente tem sobre temas gerais e legislação geral, que é a Constituição Federal, o Código Civil e a Lei das Sociedades, e também a legislação aplicável a cada grupo, Código Consumidor e outras legislações referentes aos consumidores, sobre os empregados, a lei do INSS e também a Constituição Federal, lembrando que a CLT não foi analisada porque aquilo que se tem na CLT deriva diretamente de artigos da Constituição Federal e também por a CLT ser um decreto e não uma legislação ordinária. Dos acionistas, o Código Consumidor, Código Ambiental, Lei da Falência Concordata e por aí vai a própria Constituição Federal. O Código Civil para os fornecedores e para as comunidades, diversas legislações aí esparsas que tratam da relação das empresas com as comunidades que as circundam, certo? Aqui é um exemplo de quadro que a gente montou, isso aqui foi montado para cada um dos grupos de stakeholders pesquisados. Então a gente tem na primeira coluna aqui os valores identificados pelo referencial teórico de cada tipo de cada stakeholder, se é suportado, não suportado ou omitido na legislação brasileira, qual legislação que trata sobre isso, proibindo ou permitindo, e qual artigo, certo? Então a gente pega aqui, por exemplo, o quadro, um dos valores dos empregados são mais mulheres nos quadros de gerenciamento da empresa. Não tem previsão legal, não se permite nem se proíbe no Brasil, então é omisso, certo? Em compensação, a garantia de saúde do empregado tem garantia na Constituição Federal, certo? Garantias em caso de rescisão também tem na Constituição Federal. E aqui a gente indica item a item para dar para o gestor elementos de onde ele buscar essa permissão, essa proibição, certo? Como resultado, então, a gente identificou que de todos os grupos de stakeholders pesquisados, a legislação ela tanto aceita como ela incentiva a persecução dos valores que eles buscam. Isso é muito interessante, certo? Dos 59 pontos que a gente observou, nenhum tem proibição. E 26 deles apenas têm omissão. Omissão por quê? Porque falta regulamentação. Ou seja, é possível legislar sobre esse ponto, porém não foi feito. Então a gente nota que a legislação do Brasil, ela realmente é bastante focada na distribuição de valor para todos os stakeholders, tanto que ela trata a empresa como um contrato, aqui já chegando na conclusão, certo? Ela já trata a empresa como um grande contrato entre várias partes, entre os acionistas em si. Tem o contrato social da empresa, que forma a empresa, tu tem o contrato de trabalho, tu tem com o empregado, tu tem o contrato de fornecimento com o fornecedor. Então, tu tem ali vários vieses de contratos relacionando, onde o interesse social, onde a função social da empresa, que é prevista no Código Civil, inclusive, ela deve ser respeitada. Ou seja, a empresa ela não pode funcionar se não cumprir uma função social. E qual seria essa função social? Pelo que nós identificamos no artigo, a função social da empresa é justamente atender aos interesses de todos os stakeholders envolvidos, certo? Então, foi bastante gratificante poder ver que a legislação do Brasil é avançada o suficiente para suportar uma teoria tão moderna, tão visionária quanto a teoria dos stakeholders. Aqui algumas referências, a gente agradece a todos pela atenção de vocês, um bom evento.
Congratulations for the great presentation. I won't say one word. Please feel free to make any comments.
Hi, Carlos. Too bad you couldn't be here, right, in person. So I have some comments. I hope my audio is better now. Is better? No? So I will try to speak louder, okay? I have the comments, I'll put the computer, then I will send it to you. But the first thing I would like to ask is, what do you intend to do with this paper? Do you want to publish it, or do you want to make a report for managers? What do you want to do with the knowledge from this paper?
Get a high impact publish, right, Carlos?
He can hear, right?
It's like,
No.
okay.
Carlos, maybe we can stand up.
I guess I
Thanks.
freeze for a while here.
Carlos, is it better now?
Better now. Yeah.
You have to speak here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you hear me? Right? Or
Yeah.
not?
Yeah. No, much better. Much better.
Okay, so the first question I have is, what do you intend to do with this paper? Do you want to publish it, or do you want to
Yes.
make a guideline for managers?
To publish,
Okay,
if
so
you're lucky.
I have some few suggestions, right? The first ones, sorry. Okay, so first, in the introduction section, you don't state the research question, right? You don't speak about your method. And you say that you have a contribution to offer the structure for analysis, but to what end? No? Do you want to contribute to the literature, social contribution, managerial? Just make it, let me stick here, make it more clear, right? Also, if you put some paragraphs, they are very long, so I had some trouble understanding the main message of these paragraphs. I will send it to you later. And I was confused because you end your introduction mentioning institutional economy literature like North, right? And then you mention it in some points, but you don't have a topic for it, right? Because when you mentioned, I thought, okay, so he's going really deep on the context to explain some things, and you didn't go there. So my suggestion is either you use it or you just remove it. Right? I think it could benefit from institutional theory, because then you could use the context and then you could publish it. And I think it would improve your justification. Table 1 in page 2, you present a table with stakeholders and value and things like that, but you could also put the justification of why you are using this table. I mean, you're using it because you apply it in your method to ground your search. I cannot see you. To ground your method, I mean, just justify it what you wanted to do by using this table, right? Then you go to the Brazilian legal system. Great. but I was confused if this should be the title or if it could be the legal institutionalism, things like that, and then you could put the Brazilian case. Because if you want to publish it and to be cited by other authors, maybe you can use the institutional context in a more broader view and then exemplified by the Brazilian case. And those authors, they could do the same in their countries, right? I think it would be better if it was the legal institutionalism or things like that, more broader, and then you exemplified by the Brazilian, right? And then you have the figure 2, which is the pyramid. I think that the pyramid figure is very clear for you in your in the video, actually, but in the paper, I did not understand the structure, you know. Maybe instead of a pyramid, you could make a table, you know. You could put a hierarchy, it's fine, but then you could put the forms, the forms like the decree, the law, the type of laws, and then you could put in the side what these are and how they would affect stakeholders and firms, because this is what we want to know. So maybe it would be better than just making a pyramid and say, these are more important, and then you have to follow it. I'm sorry, I'm taking. Don't worry. Okay. And then the same thing that I said to Victor, you went your literature foundation and then you moved to the method, but then there is no paragraph linking one thing to the other. So on page 4, you could make a last paragraph just revisiting the research question, your purpose, and then introducing the method. And the method was not very clear to me, actually. You said that, oh, I'm going to systematic review the Brazilian legislation and the stakeholder theory. Okay, what protocol did you use? Right? Because for stakeholder theory, you have different protocols that you could adopt. For example, you could you could have adopted PRISM, right? But when you say, oh, I systematically review the Brazilian legislation, I mean, based on what? What have you thought? Because, for instance, if I am from, I don't know, let me think, if I'm from Argentina, right? We have similar institutional context, right? And if I want to replicate your study, I don't have ways to do that. Just justify history. Carlos, are you there? Yeah. So maybe you could explain there the steps. You explain the steps, step 1, 2, and go on, but me as a researcher, if I wanted to do it in another country, I couldn't have. And then you said, oh, I want to check what are supported in the law and what managers could do. But did you have any I forgot the word, clues or things that indicated that a manager can do something to a stakeholder that would benefit and that would not be supported by the Brazilian legislation? Because in your case, on table figure 5, but I think it's table 5, right, on page 7. Then you put like the customer's value, if it's supported or omitted, and the legal basis. And for all stakeholders, you only found supported or omitted, right? But you haven't found anything for not supported. So my question is, why keep that? Because what grounds your justification that something that would benefit a stakeholder group would not be supported by Brazilian legislation. So I would just remove it and stay with supported and omitted and just go there. Check. Yes. Okay. Then yes. And then in your analysis, you spent more pages on shareholders. Yeah. So yes. Yes, you spent more pages on stakeholders, and this is maybe this could be because you're studying the laws and things like that, but you should make it clear why you found more things for shareholders than the other ones, right? Just make it clear somehow. I am almost over. Okay, and another thing is that you do all of this research, right? You do all this review, you found what is supported and what is omitted, and then what? Yes, I was thinking, okay, now he's going to make propositions or questions for future studies or things like that, and there wasn't on this paper. So I was like, okay, I was reading, I was like, this is great, and there wasn't proposition. So I would recommend you to do it. And maybe things that would help elaborating them would be to use examples from the things that you have found, right? So if you're analyzing community, and you say, oh, in the community we found that this and this was supported and this was not supported, and maybe using medias or I don't know, other sources, you could just exemplify. Like we found an example, company X did this using based on this law, and they reported this on their annual report, and maybe from observing the examples, then you could think of propositions. Maybe to be a way to do it. And last, but not the least. Actually, this is the least. You know, it's not a very important comment, but if you decide to go deeper on the institutional theory or context, which I think would be good, then you could take more notes on the limitations, right? Because if you want to publish it, the knowledge that you're creating only works for Brazil. Only works for Brazil. If you go for a broader perspective, theory, and then using the Brazilian case, then you have other types of limitations, other types of opportunities, and of opportunities. So I would just think about that, right? Sorry, guys, it was very confusing to speak here. Looking at it. But the paper is great, you know. I think Carlos is working on that for 2 years now, 1 year and a half, maybe. So, great thing.
But it was clear, Helena. We could hear you. It's great.
Yes, it's because now I am very close to the camera, but it's very difficult now for me to look at you. But the microphone is like, you know?
One eye at the fish and another eye at the cat. Don't worry.
What?
One eye at the fish and another eye at the cat. But thank you so much, Helena. I guess you read this article more times than me. Thank you so much. I hope you send me your notes. It's gonna be very, very useful.
Okay, I will say.
Thank you, Anna. Okay, please.
I have a comment. I have a comment for both papers, and I will use this time to congratulate you all. The presentations was very good. I have a comment for Carlos, and I have another one to Victor, right? Carlos, it's just a comment. Maybe you can use that or not. But there is some authors that define that managing for stakeholders, it's due more than the mandatory by law, right? And when you search and do this review, I was thinking, what is cover? It's mandatory? And if yes, this means that this is managing for stakeholders, or it's just doing what the company should do. Or and the other thought was like, if there is omitted points, could be good because it's opportunities. It's opportunities to differentiation, opportunities to the companies have more orientation for stakeholders. So because I was imagining that all of these points was covered by the law, What it means that the company have to work on more and more opportunities to create value, or if it means that managing for a stakeholder could be attend the law if the law cover all of the values for a stakeholder. This is more a question too that maybe could help in the discussion, because I do not expect that we answer that. I was wondering about that, and maybe could be some insights for the discussion. But it's interesting the analysis, and I think that could be a way to posit your contribution.
I think there is a lot of opportunity in the omitted ones, of course, the support ones, but they are mandatory. But in the omitted ones, if there's to be it, so I think there's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, and it's related with the so what that Hannah put here, like maybe some it's omitted and another it's covered, and like what to do with that. And I think that it's interesting. Maybe put this orientation in the discussions. Makes sense?
Yes. Actually, like for a firm to get like a competitive advantage, if they do just what covers of what law says, it's not a stakeholder management, or it will not allow a good strategy or competitive advantage. Like if I want to improve my stakeholder management, I need to look at the omitting point from law that I'm not obligated. I'm not.
It's not mandatory.
Mandatory. It's not a. Yeah, it's not a mandatory action. If I do that, if I make some efforts to attend that, would be a good management stakeholder. That's a good discussion.
There is also opportunities in a kind of levels, like maybe the law will like put the salary, the wage, the salary as mandatory. But the company could work in a value for stakeholder when a practice of wage above the average. That it's so the law it's to the basic
The common sense.
the minimum, it's the minimum.
Yeah, the law became the baseline. This
Yeah.
happens the same in sustainability. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you
it's-
so much. Yeah, yeah.
Too much to keep the stakeholder. Yeah.
In fact, I was a little bit lost in this article because I'm trying to fulfill a gap in the literature because no one talks about law and stakeholders in Brazil, and almost around the world we did not found a lot of articles in this theme. But as Cecilia said, at least to have here in Brazil a baseline telling us, well, okay, you must manage for a stakeholder in Brazil is how the law says. So I thank you so much because Elna brought to us a lot of points, and I guess you helped us to answer the first one, and the major one is that what is this article main purpose, and I guess it's this one. I wrote here to not forget. Don't forget, is like manage for stakeholder Brazil is mandatory by law or not? And I can tell you by this article that it is mandatory. Okay, or in fact, is a baseline. Yeah, you have a base here, but at least you have something. In a lot of another countries, you don't have nothing. So I think it's interesting. Thank you so much, and wrote everything here.
I think that you have more than one paper with the data, the insights that
Yeah,
more than
yeah.
paper.
Thank you and congratulations again. I have a comment to Victor. Victor, could be something that I missed. I didn't see 10 times your paper like Grace did. But I missed this in your presentation, and I tried to find here in your methodology, and I cannot understand, but could be because I'm like, I was a really quick reading. But when you put that you use the Boaventura methods, I know the Boaventura method, and in this method, we have the words associated with the value to stakeholders. And in the synergy, you found some ESG governance. And I was thinking how they found if they use these words on in the method of searching like if you use your table, I did not understand how do you find the synergy because, or it's not clear in the methods, at least in the first reading, because in the table 4, you put the words that you associate with value for stakeholder, but you did not mention how you find the synergy. You know, how you find or how you search for safety, governance, like this criteria, it's not in the methodology. So because of that, I like miss the synergy analysis. Do you understand?
Yeah, understood. That's something that probably we'll have to address because I believe the methodology is one of the sections that need more improvement. And yeah, there is a jump. As you said, we put a set of words from your work with Professor Boaventura. And then after that, we say that, okay, we found those synergies. but there is a gap there. How do you find these synergies? Yeah, I understand your questions. Those synergies were found in some of the expressions, some of the things that are said in the prospectus, and also from our thinking and elaboration. We saw a few words, and we saw a few expressions, we saw a few paragraphs, and then we said, oh, those are related to X, those are related to Y. This is one of the way that we found the synergies. But yeah, I really agree with you. We need to also expand all this on the section, because there is a gap there that we need to address. That's for sure.
But was just to clarify, you was like a content analysis doesn't base it in a quantitative association, but was the qualitative content analysis that you look out, like read the test and put the notes, the codes.
Yes. We use the in vivo, and then we do this analysis. This content analysis is more deeper than just finding the words. But we don't explain in the paper. That's why you are asking it, because yeah, we don't explain that. We don't even mention how we do this content analysis, as you said. And I believe that's something that we really needed to address. But yeah, it's not only counting the words, it's also reading the paragraph, because when we want to find synergies, we said that, for example, there is a set of words for employee, but we want to find synergies. Some of these words that are in some paragraphs or in some sentences that we can say, okay, this is related to employee, but this is also related to, for example, a supplier, for instance. So you can say that there is some synergies between employees and suppliers. That's just one example, just to show you how it's more deeper than just counting words. But yes, I totally agree with you that that's something that we need to address in the paper.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you for pointing that out. We really need to improve that.
Do you have any comments from the online conferences present here, or because we are using all the time? Is there any additional comments?
So thank you so much for send your papers to our track. Thank you for the question, the discussion. I wish you a good luck in the few moments. And see you on SEMEAD. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good. Oh, nossa.